Today on the Morning Edition, the Anchorage School District is looking at drastic measures to address their budget shortfall and primarily their proposals to cut the athletics programs significantly. We'll hear how some parents and students feel about the proposal. Plus, homeowners in the Fairbanks North Star Borough are beginning to receive their property tax assessments and are looking at likely increases to their rates. We'll share what it means for your property tax bill and how you can appeal if you disagree. And later, the Grammy Awards are all wrapped up, and we have a list of some of the big winners from the ceremony as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Monday morning, everyone. We hope you had a great weekend. We finally made it to February, Aaron. It was a pretty snowy January.
Yeah, January, one of the longest months of the year.
Yeah.
You know, it's always that joke where it feels like January 55th.
It really does, yeah. It was starting to feel that way.
Yeah, but we are into February. We're getting to gain that daylight. Temperatures across the state, certainly on the warmer side. And we are going to see much warmer conditions taking hold the next couple of days across, particularly here in South Central. But the state as a whole will favor some warm conditions. 28 is what we're currently sitting at here in Anchorage, with winds remaining fairly light. While we are on the dry side, coastal rain will begin to increase throughout the day. And you can see all of us, with the exception of the Copper River Basin, is seeing those temperatures in the 20s and the 30s to start out this morning. So overall, not a bad start to the day. We're not seeing any significant cold across South Central. Even through the interior, we're waking up to temperatures sitting just a few degrees below zero to start off your Monday morning. We can't rule out some passing showers. Most of that activity is out towards coastal areas. Notice as you head through parts of the Susitna Valley, we're also seeing some light snow flurries to start off your morning. But as far as today, we're going to favor that best chance for rain being out towards Prince William Sound and coastal regions of the Kenai. Now, inland areas, we will stay dry, but we can't rule out a stray shower or two, and we'll favor at least partly cloudy to partly sunny conditions the further inland that you do head. The closer you head towards the coast, expect to see a bit more cloud coverage throughout your Monday. We'll see temperatures today warming their way into the low to mid 30s. Of course, as you head inland, you'll see those temperatures even warmer as we are expected to see a bit more sunshine, but largely expecting most locations today to warm into the mid 30s as we head throughout the afternoon hours. So we are going to break freezing not only today, but through the next couple of days. And we're also going to be watching some high winds out towards Kodiak with a chance we could see some localized areas of wintry mix into our Tuesday. But for today, you can see those temperatures warming into the 30s. With that warmer weather taking hold, I'll have more on that high wind watch for Kodiak and that 7-day forecast for you coming up.
The Anchorage School District is proposing cuts to programs to help clear a $90 million budget deficit. ASD made the announcement late Friday. In addition to increasing class sizes and cutting various special programs, many of the proposed cuts involve athletics. Many people have stated that they don't understand why the savings need to come at the expense of athletics rather than administrator positions or elsewhere. As it stands, the proposed changes to sports at both the middle and high school level would be significant. The current proposal includes a complete end to funding for all middle school sports, as well as many different high school sports, including hockey, swimming and diving, wrestling, volleyball, and others, such as those listed here. Some notable exclusions on that list are football, basketball, track, and cheer, which would continue to be funded, as well as baseball and softball, which are funded by outsourcing from individual teams. We spoke to parents and students at a hockey game over the weekend, and for many, the prospect of losing their favorite sports cut deep.
I think it's absolutely absurd that they're even considering to cut sports. My kid being on the South hockey team is the reason that he goes to school. It's the reason that he pushes to get his grades so that he can keep playing hockey.
I've made so many new friends. Just like I was a freshman and I was scared, and like I've made so many new friends through it, and it's definitely helped like with my mental health. And I've like coaches stay on to you about grades too, so you don't fall behind.
ASD Superintendent Jarrett Bryant says the board will review budget options in the coming weeks and will hold a 2-hour work session tomorrow where public input will be welcome. Electric bills in the interior have seen a recent increase, leaving residents wondering why. According to Golden Valley Electric Association, the region's utility, a few factors make December and January the most expensive times for electricity. Colder temperatures lead to greater use of space heaters and systems for keeping homes and cars warm. During the weeks-long cold snap Fairbanks saw in December, these systems had to run more than normal. Also, during the holidays, members spent more time at home running appliances and other items. Meantime, the utility says rates are around 5% higher now than this time last year.
This January, absolutely understand that bills coming out are surprising many members for how high they are. And we attribute a huge portion of that to the record-breaking cold that we experienced in December. We had sustained temperatures under zero, at even colder than that.
GVEA says it has services to help people identify how they're using their power and where they might find inefficiencies. Property owners in the Fairbanks North Star Borough are starting to receive their property value assessments. These assessments are used to determine how much owners will owe in property tax once the tax rate is set toward the end of the budget process in May or June. According to Borough Mayor Briar Hopkins, letters went out on Wednesday, and owners have 30 days from then to appeal the assessment if they feel the real value of their property is not reflected. He said owners can generally expect a rise in the determined market value of their property from last year, about equal to inflation, and appeals can be made at the assessor's office.
You can talk to our assessing department and they can walk you through what that appeal process is. It's a busy time of year for us for sure, as a lot of people want to understand the math that went into their assessment, but I think it's going to be a responsible number this year and hopefully right around what we saw last year, which matched to inflation.
More information about how to appeal and how assessments work can be found on the borough's website. A fire broke out in a trailer park in Muldoon, which sent 5 people to the hospital, 3 children and 2 adults. Shortly after 4 p.m., the Anchorage Fire Department received the call about a fire in the Rangeview Mobile Home Park. The main living area of the trailer caught fire after a suspected appliance issue, firefighters say. Muldoon Road was partially closed while firefighters put out the fire, which took some time due to the compromised structure. The origin and cause of the fire are both under investigation. And in East Anchorage, another home fire sent 1 person to the hospital and 2 dogs to the emergency vet Sunday. According to Captain Brian Sorsdahl with the Anchorage Fire Department, it was a single-family home with heavy fire coming out of the back of the building when they arrived. The occupant was outside with 1 dog, but the other dog was still trapped downstairs. It was later rescued. The person in the house was taken to the hospital with unknown injuries. Sorsdahl said he thinks the fire was caused by a cooking accident. The warm temperatures probably made the course a little slick, but when you're dressed as a Viking, does it really matter? Sunday was the Alaska Ski for Women. It's an annual event held on the first Sunday in February. And according to the Nordic Ski Association of Anchorage, it is the largest women's cross-country ski event in the nation. They typically see close to 1,000 women at the event. Now, in addition to the fun costumes and party wave, there were actual races and timed events, including a freestyle race and classic race. This is a fundraising event for the Nordic Ski Association and for Alaska nonprofits that work to end domestic violence.
Very beautiful groomed trails. Today is the best weather we've seen in quite some time, and just really a supportive group of community members. So if you're brand new to the sport, we highly encourage you to join us. Almost 30% of our skiers every year, this is their first day on skis.
Former U.S. Olympic skier Sue Forbes took home the gold in the classic race, while Leah Besh won the skate ski. On Wednesday, the Federal Reserve made the decision to keep interest rates where they are, despite the president wanting the rates to be lowered. Tracy Sinclair sat down with Al Biss with Biss Wealth Partners to get a little better understanding about what the Federal Reserve does and how it impacts our lives.
2 mandates, and they're not always working together. The first mandate is maximum employment. That is trying to get as many people in the workforce as possible so we have as few people not working. Okay. So that's the first mandate. The second mandate is price stability, so not having inflation, which, for years you talk inflation, no one really got it. The last 5 years, people have understood a lot more because we've actually seen some. So the Federal Reserve is trying to do 2 things that conflict sometimes.
Now, Tracy learned so much about what the Federal Reserve is and how it impacts our daily lives. You should check it out. This latest edition of In Depth Alaska, you can find it wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Flu numbers in Alaska remain high, but have been dropping over the past few weeks. According to the respiratory virus snapshot from the state of Alaska, flu numbers have decreased from a peak at the beginning of the year. Regions that still see high numbers are Northwest Alaska and the YK Delta, but like the rest of the state, those numbers are declining, and the report does state that areas with low numbers could indicate a lack of testing and not an absence of the disease. Alaska's population is in a constant state of flux. Adelmi Ruiz joins us now from the newsroom with a breakdown of the latest numbers. Adelmi.
Kristen, Alaska's population grew in the last year, even if only by a small percentage. The State Department of Labor and Workforce Development estimates the population grew by 0.2%, which is 1,649 people. Now, we continue the pattern of losing people by net migration, more people moving out than moving in, but the state gained people by natural increase, which means the number of births minus the number of deaths. Other trends that continued last year, but at a lower rate, was a decrease in the working age population and an increase in elderly population.
Now, in terms of broader patterns, in the last 5 years, we've seen our elderly population grow every single year. And we actually saw it grow really strong in 2021 and 2022, about 7.5%, 5% growth in the 65 plus population. We've seen that soften a little bit recently into the 3-4% range. What that really does is it puts pressure on parts of the economy that the elderly need to access more. So particularly healthcare, for example, we've seen a lot of growth during COVID and even after COVID in the healthcare sector, and it might be related to those. It's just really, really different when we think about urban challenges versus hub challenges versus challenges at the really specific village level. And so I think even as we're looking at numbers that are broader, I think we should be cognizant that there are very distinct challenges around the state because we are such a diverse place with such diverse economies and communities that have down to 50, 100, 200 people, all the way up to over 300,000.
Jones also emphasized that because of the size and diversity in Alaska, there's no single issue or solution. Kristen?
All right, thanks, Adelmi. Coming up over the weekend, a special event took place at East Anchorage High School, a fashion show of Indigenous styles full of music, dance, and color. We'll bring you there after the break.
Continuing to gain that daylight across the state. We're already sitting at more than 5 minutes of daylight gain across South Central today. And of course, we are going to continue to hold on to some warm weather across the state. I'll highlight that and those high winds across Kodiak. First at sunrise, 9:16 in Anchorage, 11:27 in Ukiah.
Welcome back in on this Monday morning, heading into February, and we've got some warmer temperatures moving in, Aaron.
Yeah, we're talking about highs today across South Central, breaking freezing for many areas as that warmer weather does move in. Now, one thing to bring your attention to is high winds to be expected out towards Kodiak, northeastern parts of Kodiak Island starting tonight and then lasting through tomorrow morning, where we could see winds up to 70 miles per hour. We'll also see some heavy rain that's going to move back into southeast. Of course, we are waking up to some rain out towards the Panhandle this morning, but that heavier activity arrives as we welcome in your Tuesday. Not much to talk about in terms of the weather alerts across the state this morning. You can see locations along the slope, winter weather advisories, blizzard warnings. This is primarily due to winds, which could gust as high as about 50 to 60 miles per hour. And then as we welcome in our Tuesday and Wednesday, we'll be watching some snow building into the interior. And of course, while it is quiet across most of South Central in terms of those winter weather events, we are seeing a high wind watch out towards the southeast, which goes into effect later tonight into our Tuesday. Again, fairly quiet across most of the state as we start off your Monday morning and as we welcome in a brand new month. Again, we are still holding on to some gusty conditions, which will continue to develop later this afternoon into the evening across the slope. And we've also got some of those gusty conditions out towards the Aleutians. That northeasterly flow continuing to funnel in some of those colder conditions, which will lead to some localized areas of wintry mix as you head out towards the Aleutians. But of course, Kodiak, there is a high wind watch that should be centered on Kodiak there, but there is a high wind watch for Kodiak starting tonight through Tuesday morning. Now, this is where we're going to see northeasterly winds gusting up to 70 miles per hour. High winds could move around loose debris. We could be talking about some downed trees as well as some power outages. So be prepared for those gusty conditions to develop overnight on into tomorrow. That comes as this area of low pressure that's in the northern Pacific begins to approach north into the Gulf of Alaska. And you can see widespread rain approaching the central parts of the Gulf of Alaska as we welcome in the overnight hours. We'll see increasing rain for Kodiak out towards southeast and then out towards coastal areas of south central. For that morning commute tomorrow, expect to see some rain. It'll be dry for inland areas to start off your morning commute. But as we head throughout the day, as that moisture moves inland, temperatures will be warm enough that we'll largely be watching a chance for some wintry mix across western parts of south central as we welcome in tomorrow. And the better opportunity of seeing this will come in the form of rain and freezing rain. We may see a few rogue snowflakes, but largely expecting rain and freezing rain. Now, most surface areas across south central are sitting right around that freezing mark, specifically as you head above the soil. So be prepared for some localized areas of some freezing rain, which could cause some impacts. And then you can see as we head through the rest of the week, coastal showers do remain. So looking ahead through the next couple of days, notice heavy rainfall out towards Prince William Sound. While we won't see significant rain accumulation across western parts of south central into the valley, we will see that potential for about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch. And be prepared that we could see some localized areas of freezing rain. That avalanche danger continues to remain considerable above tree line. There's still that potential that you could trigger a large avalanche buried 2 to 5 feet deep within a weak layer. There's that chance for some wintry mix Tuesday. We're talking about highs, Kristen, for most, if not all of this week, staying at, if not climbing, above freezing.
All right, thanks, Aaron. The Alaska Sea Life Center has taken a male-ringed seal that was found out of his normal habitat in the oil field on the North Slope. This happened back in December. According to the Sea Life Center, the seal was first spotted by workers at the oil field who contacted NOAA Fisheries. The young seal was taken back to the ice but returned again and again to the oil field. The center said when the seal was found in the areas near heavy equipment, it was placed in a crate to prevent it from getting injured, and NOAA Fisheries authorized the seal to be moved to the Alaska Sea Life Center for rehabilitation. The ringed seal is listed as threatened under the Endangered Species Act. At East High School on Saturday, the Indigenous Education Student Fashion and Vendor Show brought Indigenous Alaskan families together for a day of reconnecting and appreciating their heritage. Charlie Fellows was there and shares the sights and sounds with us.
It's an overwhelming feeling. You get so much. You can literally feel your ancestors walking with you.
It feels like a miniature AFN, a miniature Ferrandi, and I just really love it. I love to see my friends and family.
My mom creates really beautiful works, so for me to be able to represent it at the best of my abilities, it means a lot to me. It shows how strong our community is, being able to come together every year now. And every year it just keeps getting better and better. And it's just something that makes us stronger because we're together and sharing, seeing not only our cultures being represented, but seeing everybody else representing their culture very confidently.
When the young women, it's mostly young women, from the school district started doing this a number of years ago to bring the community together across generations. We did it at roaming in a little hallway, and there was only several of us, and it's grown to, I think there's like over 90 tables. I think it's really important to have connection because we're a people of connection.
Even though we're still at a high school, it's very different. You see a lot of familiar faces, lots of smiling. I already know my cheeks are gonna hurt from smiling at the end of this.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.